Frank Owen, who's Escape and Rescue Director at the Submarine Institute, and can join us. Frank, thank you very much indeed for your time. Can we run through the options, bearing in mind what we've heard so far? They seem to be concentrating now on one particular area. The suggestion it may be a depth of 3,800 metres. That's incredibly difficult operating conditions.
Well, it is. If it is at 3,800 metres and it's lost its power supply, one of the features that would be in this with this submersible is that it has some clump weights, which are heavy weights that can be not automatically but manually released from the vessel, and that gives it about 400 to 500 kilograms of buoyancy. So if it's not been able to get to the surface because of that, then it either suggests that there's a bigger problem in terms of water ingress, which is terrible, or it's been tangled up in something. My estimation, though, because we're hearing these emergency signals, and I'm not sure it's necessarily ... I think it might be regular tapping for 3 minutes on the hour and the half hour. And the person who is central to this, the success of this, is the Frenchman. The fact that he is a former Navy commander, he was a diver, he understands the protocols that are used in a submarine accident. And by using those very same protocols of tapping on the hour and the half hour, he's sending actually a subtle message to the search authorities that I know that you will understand that this means I know that you're looking for me. I'm not just banging in making a noise just for the sake of it. Making the noise in this hull is also difficult because the hull is not steel or tungsten that might resonate.
It's carbon fibre, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it is indeed, and it's between 5 and 7 inches thick. So it's like bashing a big lump of wood, I would think. So you haven't got that metal that can resonate, that can help the noise to really propagate through the ocean. So the fact that they've heard it on sonar buoys, the fact that a sonar buoy is actually relatively shallow, it's perhaps 100, 200 metres below the surface. They can vary the depth of them. They should be able to get bearings from these sonar buoys. Even if they miss it the first time, they can wait for the next 30 minutes and then they can lay a pattern of these buoys around it and get cross bearings so they can work out the position of it.
OK, and in terms of the fact that it's carbon fibre, does that indicate if you are sending some kind of sonar signal to ping off it, does it actually resonate as well, or do you have to have a metal hull for that to work?
No, the echo from that might happen from a search sonar actually comes from the air that's behind it rather than the metal itself.
OK.
So it's the dysfunction, if you like, between water and air. If it was full of water, it wouldn't echo as well as if it was full of air.
Now, the other aspect, we've seen one vessel leaving St John's, Newfoundland, the Horizon Arctic, got big drums of cable on it. Suggestions, of course, that one of the ways would literally be physically winch it back up to the surface. But I assume you've then got the problem trying to attach it. And are there submersibles with things like robotic arms that could actually undertake that sort of thing?
Well, I know that the one submersible that can do that is the US Navy's deep salvage system that's is probably already sailed from St John's. It was mobilised and arrived there last night. It probably takes a few hours to mobilise it to the ship, but then they have a day and a half steaming. At 370 nautical miles, it takes about 26, 28 hours at 14 knots. And that's a good speed for the sort of ship that can support these. So you're really getting to this nominal 90 hours. And I would make a point that, again, this French diver is going to be vital in really understanding how you can conserve your scarce supplies. The 96 hours is nominal based on the average consumption of oxygen and production of CO2 by a human. But if they're all told to go to sleep and one person's kept awake, for example, you can really reduce that consumption now.
Okay, and the other thought then, Frank, in addition, of course, is the carbon dioxide that builds up. We assume they've got some kind of filtration on board, but is that also designed to last for 96 hours?
It is, and again, that depends on, it really depends on how much CO2 you're producing, and if you can slow down your metabolism, you'll produce less CO2. What they do is they use masks, so that the air is actually rebreathed through a filter, and it comes back having had the CO2 removed by this filter, and you change the filter every so often.
Right. So obviously it's again, not that comfortable a process, and given all the other things that they're having to face. But Frank, thank you very much for bringing us your expertise. And of course, we'll continue to monitor what the US Coast Guard is saying as those vessels try to get ever nearer. Thank you very much indeed.